the power of possibility allows you to even dream what that might look like for you. And to have the opportunity to see different possibilities early on allows me to exist in the spaces like I exist today. I've seen too many people do things in different areas for me to not think that I can't do the same thing.
What's going on, fam? This is KR Jones of the Off the Strength podcast, and I am here to tell you to like, listen, subscribe, and if you're feeling freaky, visit offthestrength.com. That's where you can go and get more information on us. That's where we can link, we can build, we can connect, and let's make this thing work.
This is the problem, right? Because the good brother, one late Christopher Wallace, warned us from this a long time ago. Baby, he has said, and I quote, I know y'all heard this before, never get high on your own supply. Now, I will tell you, this man was getting high on his own supply all the way throughout this whole thing. And this is where road started to get a little rocky, my friend.
He also had another line about, you look
at the Biggie lyrics.
I'm just saying, in that commandment, if you go down.
That's not the one that I'm going for.
I'm just saying.
He got a line of, I would say, if we had to, again, revisit some of these things, this man would be very popularly booked in the month of June. I'll leave it at that. What's good, everybody? What's good? Welcome back to yet another episode of Off the Strength, where we're giving you an inside look into all things wellness culture. I'm a trainer called Tony, and of course, with me, I have a gentleman of extraordinary league.
KR Jones is in the building.
That's right, folks. We are back. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of all time from near and far, you are now in store for a treat because it's the return of the variety show. That's right. That's when we give you our best foot forward. So hopefully you take your best foot forward. You do that two-step, that tango, whatever it is you need to do to make it on through the week with the best goddamn wellness information available.
Yay.
Brother Kyle Jones.
What's the word?
How you feeling this week, my friend?
Man, I've been in that 12th round still fighting, brother.
Hell yeah. Talk about it.
Much like you, in the phrase that you've been throwing around and kicking in the dojo, if you will, when you have to find the gamification of life,
okay, you
then start to find different ways for you to win. What games do you like to play? You little rock'em sock'em. Fight night was a boxing game I had back in the day, but every month is a round. There's 12 rounds in the boxing match, and with December being the 12th round, you got to give it all you got.
Man, I definitely feel like December is the 12th round. I told you last week, as I spoke about before, this is going to be a decision-based bout. It's going to come down to using all things
I don't want the decision. I need a knockout. That's what I need.
Listen, you got to come in swinging as hard as possible, bro. And on that note, my theme from this week was listen to the corner and watch for the hook.
Okay.
Because sometimes when you in search for that knockout, you can get your ass laid out if you ain't playing the game the right way, fam. And I'm telling you right now, there's a lot of people that don't understand. You got to watch for that hook, bro. This week, the hook came. I was like, oh, shit. Knock me right upside the head.
Hold on. We're not going to slide past. Listen to the corner and watch for the hook.
Watch for the hook, bro. You got to watch for it.
Ain't nobody tell you that. You had to learn that. That was
You got to be able to stick with it, bro. Everybody can tell you about their fighting glory stories. If they ain't tell you watch for the hook, this is when you get knocked upside your damn head. And out of that metaphor is life.
Yeah.
Life will smack the shit out you if you ain't paying attention, bro.
Mike Tyson blow to the face.
You understand now, man. That's what I'm trying to tell you, bro. Yeah, I definitely got a couple hits this week. Bell rung, so to speak. That's what they used to call concussions when I was coming back up playing in intramural football days. It's a terrible time. I'm a product of 86. Very bad.
Yo, Johnny looks dead. He got his bell rung.
Yeah. No type of diagnostics. No evaluations.
He'd be all right.
Just go walk it off, son. Drink some water. You'll be okay. And I feel like that's the message that I've been getting from life, God.
Oh, man.
Stick with it. That is really the main sentiment, man. I got more calls this week from people that I haven't spoken to in far too long.
Yeah.
For reasons that I was genuinely curious about, but they all were kind of having that same resounding sentiment. Kyle, that genuine sentiment, keep going.
Yeah.
We saw something that reminded us that you was doing that and said, man, he's still going, keep going, bro. You need to look into the direction of the future, Kyle. And I got to tell you, the future is not only bright, it is very promising, but the present Shaky as hell, almost like that word that I just almost did not land, you know? And I want to bring that sentiment into this week's Ask the Professional, Kyle.
Yeah.
So, amongst this time, we're closing out the year. We do these reflective kind of conversations all the time, man. My main thing in the pursuit of trying to make it through that 12th round is how to stay away from self-sabotage. Okay? So now self-sabotage is top of the mind. Brother Jones, I got to ask the professional, how does this come up in your pursuits, and how do you avoid this if you are familiar with the term?
Definitely familiar with the term. Thinking back to the guest we had, shout out to Ace. And that came up in her episode, and she was like, you gotta squash that inner asshole.
For a different time?
Not that type of asshole, if you will.
Hey, listen, my friend.
We're talking about like how you negatively self-talk to yourself.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I think that was powerful then, and still now it resonates. Of how are you talking to yourself when you mess up, when you do good? In general, in life, like I call it a staff meeting personally. You know what I'm saying? If it looked like I'm just pontificating on something, I'm having a staff meeting in my head, and I'm trying to understand, you know, what I need to tell myself to get into the best possible position to succeed. Because ultimately, I feel like that should be the goal. Oftentimes, I would confuse it with, progress, so to speak, imperfection, and getting caught in that loop. But it's like, hey man, I'm just trying to move the chains, right? And I want to make some strides in that direction. So it's positive self-talk. I tend to stay away from the negative self-talk. Like I don't even entertain it when I hear those types of conversations. I walk away. Like that's not how I live my life, and I'm intentional about that. So to long-windedly speak about self-sabotage, don't listen to your inner asshole. Yeah.
So in that, right, I think negative self-talk is a good identifier. Excuse me. Sorry. Negative self-talk is a good identifier that comes up that people might start to see as an indication that you're going into that self-sabotage. You know any other ones that come up for you, or any other thoughts around that that's like, hey, I'm starting to play, I'm forcing the error here. I don't know where this is coming from, or I'm not playing the game the way I should be, and I'm the thing that's keeping me from going forward. Anything like that?
Nothing comes to mind, but I am a bit hard-headed at times, and I think those type of things happen with lessons, right?
Okay.
Like whenever something constantly happens concurrently, or like it reappears in your life, I think that's the stuff that, can promote that inner self-talk, so to speak, of like, hey, this might need to be a check-in, right?
Yeah.
Like this keeps happening. How can I move past this situation? So if I don't, have something come top of mind from just living life naturally, I feel like life will kind of push you in that direction that, hey, man, the squeaky wheel is going to get the grease. Like you fucking up over here. This is your blinder. You need to give some attention to this.
Yeah. I think in that same vein, Kyle, I have come across and have been familiarized with the idea of cognitive distortion.
Okay.
Now, when I say that, what comes up to mind?
Cognitive is obviously brain thinking.
Something of the mind.
Yeah.
Matters of the mind, yes.
Exactly. Distortion, it's a fancy word, it's very artistic.
We start to look at those clown mirrors, right? The object in the mirror, Kyle, might not be actually what it appears to be in real life. And that, to me, is thinking about the stories that you tell yourself, which goes along with the voice, for sure. But the stories that you tell yourself, particularly the negative ones, how accurate are they? How do they really relate to the causal things inside the story of why something didn't work out, and the effects that you feel going in there, right? Because there's the observation, there's the story that you tell yourself, which makes you feel a certain way, and then there's what you do after that, right? So that distortion, to me, when it is starting to flare up in the wrong way, it's kind of like I could put all this progress and all this energy and effort into one thing, and then the slightest thing doesn't go right, and then everything is wrong. I can't get past this. This is terrible. That's that perfectionism trap, right? So I point that out because that's something that I see in myself that I've had to grapple with at different points. That distortion window. When you're telling yourself the stories and the stories start to sound like they're particularly pessimistic, how do you validate that? And maybe, hey, take a second back, take a step, and like really reevaluate. Well, is this actually what happened? I say turn to a trusted source. Yo, am I bugging here? Is it really me tweaking over in this direction? Did this roll out the way that I am telling myself it rolled out, or was there something else to be done there, right? So having a good source of people to check in with, making sure you do that restructuring after you identify a distortion. So, hey, what's a more positive way to put that? And that tends to get me up out of that situation. So hopefully, my brother Jones, that helps people stay away from that self-sabotage this season, my man.
Yay.
Now, on to another note. Kyle. I don't know what the fuck's going on today. My up is down, left is right. Kyle, I want to talk about some good stories.
Okay.
I want to talk about some bad stories.
All
and
right.
I want to talk about some things that are downright ugly, Kyle. That's right. It's time for this week's episode of Rip from the Headlines. And first things out, my brother, I want to get into, hold on one second. Oh, sorry, my phone is tweaking out. I'm bugging out over here, Kyle. First thing out, Brother Jones, I want to talk about a dinner that I saw that looked like the very most decadent dinner that nobody's talking about over here, hosted by On Magazine. Now, Kyle, if I told you that there was an influencer dinner that took place in a hall that looked like it was supposed to be where the X-Men were meeting, and they were planning on how to do justice for all of 2026, how would you feel about seeing that? You know,
I'm feeling like my invite got lost in the mail.
As dude, man. You know, so On Running Company has been doing a lot of different type of marketing events this year. This is the most decadent looking thing that nobody's talking about out here, and I think they went out of their way to not talk about it. So it's like, yo, you don't know who they invited, you don't know what's going on, but they're just showing you all of the setup that went into this. And I'm thinking you're starting to see the birth of the anti-influence being starting to plant seeds inside here, right? So everybody's talking about influence versus impact. When companies are not over-indexing on the one individual celebrity that's going to make them stand out, but they looking at the moment and the container to be the standout, I thought that was something that was pretty groundbreaking inside this health and wellness arena. What was your thoughts on that, man?
Again, I feel like On has made tremendous strides as we've seen year over year, especially in the space of just like what they've experienced with the impact of the running community.
Zendaya being the first person with a running shoe that doesn't run.
Expanding into merge, different types of activations. Like we really got to see the growth and expansion of this company.
Yeah.
And again, On, holla at me. I walk, though. I don't run. So if we can get the walking line going, I also know some other people that walk, and I think that could be cool.
Come on, man. Try to get this thing going, Kyle. You know you got to make sure that you show people what's possible before you actually make it happen. Now, Kyle, we've talked about having innovations inside of public spaces to get people to be a little bit more fit.
Okay.
Right? So how did you feel this week when the Health and Human Service Secretary and RFK Jr. were doing pull-ups in the airport, trying to promote people staying physically active inside the airport, my friend? This was something that came across my timeline from CBS News, and you're seeing two geriatric population elderly statesmen getting their pull-ups on in the middle of the airport. Now, I have mixed opinions about that, but I wanted to turn to you, sir, and get your opinion first.
First and foremost, there's a high thread count going on in everything that I'm seeing. Whenever there's a gentleman that has to take his tie off before to give you some type of performative demonstration.
Oh, you know.
We
got some measuring happening right now.
We're already in a bad way. Just looking at the look of this, it looks like brother also took his shoes off to get his pull-up game on.
Optimal pull-up performance was at the highest of display right now.
Now, hear me out. I grew up in an age where this meant something, right? Where we had the presidential fitness challenge and things of that nature that they would come to your school and ribbons were handed out, and a lot of folks ain't get them. I didn't do well in the pull-up one because I was a bit too heavy. I was pleasantly plump, if you will. You know what I'm saying? A little husky as a younger youth.
Pull-up separated the boys from the men real quick, bro.
Yeah, they was like, yo, Jones going to do like 20 because he huge. And right after the kid that weighed, 65 pounds soaking wet knocked out a 20-pack, I'm like, nah, I can't do that.
Ain't getting those.
Nah, I ain't getting 20. I got a good 4. But any push-ups, I was there for. Now, this,
all chest,
again,
no legs.
In the airport, sorry to take you on that long-winded, sonnet, if you will, but I ain't with it. I'm sorry. I feel like it's performative. Why are you doing pull-ups outside of the gym? If you was real,
it's in the airport.
Do it in the street.
Yo, go to a scaffolding anywhere near you. Now, this is also coming on the tail end of homie saying that he wants you to dress up more when you come into the airport. So you're supposed to be in your suit and tie in the airport, knocking out pull-ups.
That is not the
before
culture
your flight
we in.
starts. You're going to be funky when you sit in the first class. Don't be nowhere near me. They ain't going to pass you no peanuts. You put your arm up and you musty, you get neck slapped, okay? That's
not
what we're going to do.
Peanut pass.
Can't do it, bro. Talking about things that are looking a little shaky in the health and wellness arena, Kyle. Now, there's a new gym that's on the market that we talked about on this show that has taken over our old gym. So Pure Gym is now the person that is coming into the U.S. market. They're coming over from the U.K. and they're trying to instill some of the U.K. gym culture inside of the U.S. And it's looking a little rocky. That translation is not translating, Kyle. So this 24-hour concept that came over to the UK, they wanted to put their first attempt at taking over their new Blink properties inside of New York City. So this is the door system that is at the Blink in Brooklyn. Now, Kyle, this is because this is a 24-hour system. You have to get kind of like airport security to get inside the gym now today. So new gym goers who've been going to the same space for a long time came into contact with this machinery, right? And you have to get your scan to enter the gym, scan to be let in, and also scan to be let out, adding all kinds of unnecessary time to your entrance into the space, but you do have access 24 hours. How do you feel about seeing some of the overseas technologies having a little bit of pushback from the Brooklyn natives, my friend?
I got a lot of feels. I'm going to try to keep it concise and keep it brief. The door was referred to as dystopian because it's very much Fifth Element, Demolition Man looking of it's futuristic. This is how I get into a gym. The other side of this is all they did was change the doors on the Blink, bro. That's like for a specific population. I'm going to talk to y'all real quick. You ever had your mom bring a new man around? You know what I'm saying? Like, he got a little paper or something. I will change some things around here, but when you get in that house, it's the same fucking house that you always lived in. You know what I'm saying? It's just got a new door. That's really what it is. You know, like I'm not here for it. I think that the way to elevate the luxury gym experience or the gym experience as a whole, it's separating it from luxury, doesn't happen with the way that you enter. Like, I've seen the memes of like, yo, the door is the heaviest lift to get into the gym, right? Because
psychologically, yes.
You got to be there to repeatedly get your reps in. But if you change the door, make it futuristic, that's not going to make me want to be a member here or go to this fucking place.
They're trying to get you that
24
hour access, man. They want you to be able to get that lift, the same quality lift at 2 a.m.
And how many people going there within 24 hours?
We keeping tabs on all
more
of y'all.
So. Who's the staff that's going to be
Ain't
there?
Gonna be no staff, bro.
Overnight.
That's the part that we're not talking about. Ain't gonna be no staff in there. That's why they got that futuristic ass door. You know, one way in, one way out. That's all we taking care of.
Yeah, and then God forbid it go down in the gym because it has numerous times.
You gotta be able to again listen to the corner. Watch for the motherfucking hook, bro.
That's
You
it.
just got to stay with it.
That's it.
Kyle, I'm going to stick with the BBC. That's the British Broadcasting Company, not the other one from your search history.
I don't
for
know
this
what you're
last
talking
story,
about,
Kyle.
champ.
And this last story is going to be about a new bar in Bristol. That is a bar that is having all kinds of success being an alcohol-free bar. Now, Kyle, we have talked about being a free spirit on this show many times before. It seems as if this new post-alcohol party scene is starting to bubble up a little bit more. Now, I talked about the first trend that I saw coming from overseas, popping up over here and having a good time. Kyle, I'm going to let you know that this is going to be another one of those trends that I'm calling right now, and I'm going to let you know that when the free spirits start to come over on the scene in the stateside, it's going to make a little bit of a bigger splash. What's your thoughts on that?
First, I want to talk about your alliteration and you just throwing bubble and splash around like that's your normal conversation. I ain't never heard you bubble and splash in the same sentence.
Hell yeah, man.
All right, you out here acting crazy.
Yeah, I'll be bubbling and splashing, bro.
For the non-alcoholic bar, yes, I remember you quite...
Bussin' son.
I remember you telling me about this idea years ago, right? I'm happy to see it come to fruition. I knew enough to know back then that you were onto something, and I'm looking forward to the growth that has happened in this non-alcoholic market, which I don't know the numbers on that, but I'm certain it has improved drastically from what it was the year before, and it's looking even better coming into next year when you have stuff like Dry January and things of that nature.
I will let you know that you was a naysayer, and I'm going to let that be the name of my bar. It's going to be
Naysayers?
Naysayers. Non-alcoholic sayers. That's what we're doing. That's the name of the bar. That's what we're doing. That's where we're leaving it.
N.A.?
N.A. For all you naysayers out there. Yeah. One over you right now.
I'm going to leave you with that tone. And this week, as we get down to the end of the year, I think I'm going to switch it up, right? And this little switch up is not going to be a rip from the headlines. It's going to be a hook, if you will.
Okay. You got to watch for those.
You got to watch for that. Now, it's been brought to my attention that we have entered the holiday party season.
Yes.
There's a list of do's and don'ts that I feel that we personally know and can speak to because we've been to many holiday parties at a level that just most people don't see in life.
I can't speak to a damn thing. I'm stopping speaking to all these people, Kyle. I'll keep telling you that.
Okay, say less. Well, hopefully you can still give a little insight.
Maybe
right?
a little bit of enlightenment, yes.
Just a little bit for the folks right now. As the holiday party season approaches, I got a few questions that I just want your brief insights on. You tell me how you feel. You show up to your holiday party and there's an unedited soundtrack. I'm talking the DJ is letting it fly.
Yeah.
Nothing is edited. It's all raw hip hop.
Hell yeah.
How you feeling about that?
Who's the crowd? That's the first thing that's going to let me know how I should feel about that.
Let's say
I mean that intentionally.
Let's say there's mixed company, you know?
Yeah. That mixed playlist needed to come on. You need to think about that before that company showed up. You can't. I will tell you one thing. Not everybody's gonna feel the same way about that track coming on.
Okay.
And you're gonna find out some things about your friends that you did not know. So there you go.
Slotting into, you got 3 drink tickets, but no food in sight.
Yeah.
How you playing that present day?
That's not a party that I'm showing up for, bro. That's just hey, listen.
You got no hope, no navigation for how that might be.
Don't go. Those people don't love you. Don't do that.
Now, famously, most parties I've been to have had an open bar. Like that's par for the course at that level of play. But when you go to other spaces, that might not be the case. And I've seen folks get 3 drinks and they go crazy into like let me get a Long Island iced tea. It's like, yo, fam, what kind of night you trying to have?
You know what type of night you're trying to have. If you talking about a holiday party, so first of all, I'm going to contextualize holiday party, meaning like, is this mixed company as in you doing a holiday party with your friends, or mixed company that you're doing a holiday party with people that you work with?
This is work holiday party.
Yeah, that's why I said don't go. Because if you're going to go there with a bunch of drinks and think that a positive story is going to come out of there, let me tell you where I've seen a lot of people fail. I've seen so many people get fired the next day after the holiday party in my tenure in this great city that I can't share all of those stories because they're too vulgar for even this great show that I have. But please, rest assured, I've seen some filth happen in these holiday parties. Yeah. And it started off with, hey, you know what's going to be a good idea? Let's start drinking and not eating for an inordinate amount of time.
That's what I was going to bring up next, is there was no food in sight, right? Yeah. So, like, you got 3 drink tickets, but you ain't got no finger food, no nothing. Now, there was food being held, like, walked around, but it was open air, like little sliders. I would say I saw maybe, like, a little burger and a bun, some desserts, if you will, some other charcuterie of sorts, but it's not substantial.
I ain't doing it, bro. I've played, you talking about 40-year-old Tony. I'm in the game for a whole different set of reasonings and logic. I ain't out here to chase. I ain't out here to track nothing down. I'm not popping up to a spot just to get the look on. That's not who I am.
Which brings me to my last question, Tony. A space being very dimly lit.
Yeah.
Right?
You know why that's been chosen for the holiday party specifically. It's like, I don't know why you act like these are new revelations. No, those lights are low for a reason.
Extremely low.
You said there wasn't finger food on the menu. Finger food was on the menu. It's just a different type. We're going to have a different type of conversation, bro.
And we're going to slide.
That's exactly what was happening.
In that round, inside baseball at a holiday party, Tony, I feel like you're not giving people the advice that they need, but I appreciate your insights.
I said it from the beginning. That's it. That's the full insight. Yo.
Don't go.
If you want to go, just know what you're signing up for, Ben. You know, homie from accounting, he's going to try to talk to the chick from the mailroom, bro. Yeah. And he's been plotting on her for a long time.
It's been a minute. There's liquid courage that's involved. There's a lot of reacquaintance or introductions, if you will.
In 2026, I wouldn't even want to talk to a peer at a holiday party. Not today. It's too risky.
I say all this to say that, I brought this up specifically because it's going to dovetail into the Raising the Bar segment, right? Now, the holiday party that I went to is at the space that, you can't fully talk about all the things, blah, blah, blah. But the location of it was right across the street from where the old holiday parties that you and I used to attend quite frequently at, and even that was, only a small blip of where you were pre-holiday parties before that space.
Are you talking about Equinox?
Yes.
Equinox definitely used to spend a serious amount of money for their holiday parties. And they were...
But Capital, we've had at least probably 3 years consecutively where we've been at that place.
And for the listeners that are not regionally located in New York, right, it's an old bank
Yes.
that is cavernous in its interiors, right?
That is a great description.
It is as big as possible. And they used to take that, right? And they used to just put every single person that has ever been in front of your favorite type of fitness class, all the people with all the types of spandex that you possibly could have seen, right?
Yep.
People who have been dieting and been fasting intermittently for the last 364 days, they give them one day where they're going to let them all get inside that nice little bank vault, right, with all that tight spandex stuff on, and they're going to pour as much alcohol into that room as possible.
Yep.
And then hilarity ensues immediately after that. There's alcohol usually, there's the first start, but then there's some other
food there too.
There's some food there, and then some other stuff that ends up happening.
Lots of things you could eat, you know.
Yeah, whole lot of stuff been happening at them parties, man. There's a lot of snow happening inside. I don't know how, but we're gonna act like the money wasn't in there.
You see this picture that you're painting, right?
It was a quiet night. You know what I'm saying?
Far from it, but as I'm leaving this holiday party, I see that space across the street, and I look at it like, hey, I'm not the same dude, man.
It's old school New York shit, bro.
I done seen a lot. I've been here a while, and I'm moving way differently this year than I was previously. And I think that was the growth, and that was the lesson at the end of it. Everything down to, like, the jacket I wore that night, like, the scarf I had to be covering my neck. Like, all the stuff was like, damn, I'm a real adult New York-ass dude now. Like, I've seen this play before. And it got me thinking about the lessons in life that I've learned, which is going to take me to this Raising the Bar segment.
Okay, I can't wait for it. But briefly, you talked about the outfit that you had on right now. Can we talk about some of them trash trainer outfits when you was first getting started, getting off over there?
Oh, what you mean? In the holiday party?
There was some trash trainer outfits at the holiday party, bro.
I remember a dude, I ain't gonna name names, but let's just say he wanted everyone to know that him and another young lady in the gym were dating.
Yeah.
So they chose to have a matching outfit.
Always a fail.
It looked
Fails hard every
very
time.
like 70s, like pimp and my bottom bitch. And it was just like, what are y'all doing?
See,
like,
and I bring that up because I always wanted to let people know that there was separation. I was in the gym.
Yeah.
I was never that.
Yeah, for
in
sure.
the gym.
Homie looked like Darkwing Duck. You know what I'm saying?
There's
like,
some chapters in there where it's like, you was never cool outside of this space. I just want to point that out just because when they have the one day where you can't put on all the Lycra and stuff,
yeah,
and it's going to require a little bit more than just like the baby oil to get it done.
for sure.
A lot of these guys can't dress.
No, women too. You know,
A lot of these women can't dress.
it goes both ways, and it's like that's the best you could pull together. And
Shockingly bad outfits.
you know, it really separated the weak from the obsolete, if you will.
Just wanted to put that out there. But go ahead, sir. I didn't mean to derail you.
No worries, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners from all type, from near and far. You now installed to Raise Your Bar, brother Tone.
Yes, sir.
Believe it or not, I'm doing a book recap.
Okay.
You know, I read.
I like that for you.
I'm lying. I don't read an audiobook. But
That's
you
not
know,
the same thing.
It's not, but it's still a form of getting the message, you know?
I can receive that.
Recently, I dived into Roy Woods Jr. book, The Man of Many Fathers.
Shout out to Roy Wood Jr.'s.
And he was talking basically about, you know, life lessons from situations that he's learned to men that were father figures, but were not directly his father.
Yeah.
You know, and he just takes you through his life of going through the system and things of that nature. And being able to put life lessons from situations that had cascading effects into a novel and look fondly on that is like, all right, I'm listening to what you got going on. And much like how we just talked about with this holiday party season in life, like, I think the biggest lesson I've learned over time is some things take time, right? Like some things take literal patience of, you know, the stars, the world, the universe to align on this day, in this moment, at this time, especially in New York. I feel like New York is very whimsical at times where people just romanticize the city and like, oh my God, a million people on this little island and I was able to bump into you in this moment, and you know, like that type of thing that I feel like that energy can be you know, palpable at times. But as I'm reading this book, I'm like as I'm listening to this book, I'm sorry, I don't want a lot of folks.
You're reading with your ears. Go ahead. Continue.
As I'm listening to this book, Roy Woods is just detailing a life of growing up in the South, of being convicted of a crime, of having to go to college, of having to be a road comedian. And it just slows things down a bit to really understand how far removed we are in life, but highlights the importance of lessons and like when you come across them in your life. Like a definitive, you called it, what was it? A defining moment, I would say.
Yeah.
Where it kind of changes the fabric of how you were living to some degree of like, damn, I'm never going to do that, right? Those type of interactions, I think, are the real gems in life. And as I'm listening through this book, it got me reflecting on what mine would be, right?
Okay.
Of like, damn, when can I draw back to a memory and think about a real shift that pushed me in a direction that had I not made that shift, I wouldn't be here today.
Yeah.
Legitimately. And I think about the old adage of like, yo, we all one decision away from, being locked in a cage somewhere to some degree.
I feel you.
But that is what my focus shifted to. So my question to you today, Brother Tone, is if you could just recall a defining moment, like a real lesson in life, and let's go back to a younger age, like something, very rudimentary that really changed the way you walked and navigated through life.
Yeah, I would say I'm 13 years old and I'm trying to find my first job, and it's in these very steps inside of this building where I come across the first black man that I ever heard say the word entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Kevin Davis. One day I'm gonna find that dude. Shout out to Kev. Hopefully you live it right and you're doing all things good. And if anything transpires since I have seen him then, I take no responsibility for that, right? Because we gotta look at our heroes a little different these days. I don't want the doc to come out and shouting. Nobody out now found out some horrific shit. Yeah. But at that point in time, this man was somebody that I saw doing something that I have never seen before. He's like, yo, I own a GNC. I was like, what does that even mean? What? How does one do that? Yeah. I own a Subway in Rockefeller Center on the main platform where everybody who's walking through here can come in and buy stuff. And what? How'd you get to do that? Like, where'd that come from? Well, this is what I did. This is what I worked on. These are the places that I put my money together. I got a couple friends that did this. We put our money together, and I put my family through here. This is what's paying for my kids' schools. This is how it works. I come here. I do this every day. This is job. This is work. And the moment that you get a little bit of agency developmentally, this is like the first time that I was like, oh, I'm changing stuff up. I'm working for this money. The stuff's going to change around me. Oh, I could see somebody working harder and getting more. Hey, I could see that. That makes sense. Well, what do I need to do to make myself like that? I would say, excuse me, quintessentially, that started me on a path that at least opened up my door to curiosity. Similarly, I've been all throughout that life blessed with having strong male role models all throughout there. But I would say that's one that stands out that was like, oh, the world looks a little bit different now. I could see there's a little bit of a door of possibility. That same door would be open similarly later on in the gym space with all the great people that I would come across there. But that first one, it was at 13.
If you could distill the lesson, what would it be? Like singular sentiment.
It's possible. The sentiment is possibility.
Yeah.
Like there's something that the allure of being able to have something where nobody foreseeably, I mean, yes, there's a bunch of different circumstances that they could. Being a part of a franchise, people can come in there and tell you what to do, but this is yours.
Yeah.
You kind of could make it your own thing. That thought was a fly thought. What time are they showing up? What time am I closing these doors? What time do I want to start making whatever I'm making? That was all inside of this one kind of worldview. So the power of possibility allows you to even dream what that might look like for you, and to have the opportunity to see different possibilities early on allows me to exist in the spaces like I exist today. I've seen too many people do things in different areas for me to not think that I can't do the same thing.
No, there's definitely a lot of power in that, brother. Thinking about just the power of possibility, I'm recalling Equinox.
Mm-hmm.
That was the space that you had worked for a while, but literally that was my first adult job out of college. And I remember ramping up and them telling me, this is what you're selling. This is how much it costs. Now you go do it.
Right.
That first sale of getting an actual client and that client paying for, a 24 pack of sessions, which at that time was going to run you about 32,
couple stacks,
maybe $4,800, right? And they swipe for it like a double cheeseburger at McDonald's. Like,
that's it.
All right,
it's light. I
we
do
get
this
started tomorrow. Yeah,
twice a month. I do these. What's up?
Cool. And at that time, I learned to not think with my wallet, right? Because just because I couldn't afford that, somebody paid that to work with me. I ain't see $4,800. It was actually a very long time before I saw numbers even close to that. I might have did touch something like that at one point, but it took years, and that wasn't from one person. That was from busting my ass 90 to 100 something sessions in a month.
Yeah,
that's a lot
to get in the neighborhood of that. Yeah,
to get in the neighborhood of that, right? So as I'm weighing that out, I think about chasing that proverbial carrot of success, right? You speak of seeing somebody getting paid more to do a thing, right? At that distinction in my life, I had busted my ass to get my first bonus because I had never got it before. I was like maybe top 3 in the gym. I wasn't 1 and 2 because I worked behind Maurice and Mitch, who was doing astronomical numbers and taking vacations. Don't ask me how they did it. They just did it somehow. And I got no recognition.
Yeah.
Right after that happened. And I was like, you know what? I'm good. And that lesson in itself was like, yo, this is the beginning, this is the middle, and this is the end of I have to go get for me, and I can't look for that validation externally.
Yeah. I definitely can understand that sentiment, and I definitely think that starts you on a journey to then learn all that has to come with that to be a viable and sustainable effort, right? Because I literally marched out of that place off of I'm supposed to get something that I thought I was, my work indicated that I was supposed to get something that I did not get. My effort, my energy, my output indicated that I was supposed to get something that I did not get. That disharmony from there put me on a similar, I feel like I'm not being appreciated, right? And in that path to okay, what's next? You will find out that much of the same is going to exist in a lot of other spaces. Yep. What you now have to be responsible for now, though, is once you leave that system that does a lot of your outreach, a lot of your marketing, a lot of that other stuff, you are going to have to come up with a lot of other skill sets to close that gap if you are intended to be there and truly be self-sufficient, right? So I only point that out to really help people understand that path towards entrepreneurialism is almost going to assure you some level of frustration that is going to be a magnitude more significant than that frustration that you feel at the job that don't care about you the way that you think that they should, right? And I point that out because you can leverage that, right? That discomfort, when you see yourself having a better future than your present, is kind of like, well, hey, yeah, you can move into that direction. You know what is a very good way to do that? Keep contact with these people that see you and see you being valued at $4,800. They don't know what they're spending that at. They see you being a representation of the thing that I could spend that money on. Now, today, old ass Tony was like, hey, how many people spent that much money on me being in front of them? When I'm thinking about my sunset here, how am I putting up something that's going to be comparable in that same price point? Because I don't want to drop my number because that's what they're used to doing, right? And I think that's where people get a little tripped up. It's like, why are they paying what they're paying? What are they showing up for? Where are they going to go? Now, if you, in your mind, said that you were the single sole source of everything over there, you are in for a rude awakening. Yes. Okay? When you find that out, you're going to find out what you need to do to keep moving forward in that space.
That, my friends, is a lesson in itself. And I truly think about the frustration element that you just brought out, but then also just the suffering, right? Like, how much are you willing to suffer? Because as you alluded to, this game that I spoke about happens elsewhere, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not singular to this one industry, so to speak. It's going to be in every industry. So your next move got to be your best move, right? And make sure that when those lessons present themselves, that you try not to go back and make the same mistakes.
Yeah. I mean, to prolong the suffering is to continue to do the same thing and expect something different.
Yeah.
So if you take that, even some spaces you just might need to get up out of there and leave. I'm never going to advocate for somebody. Suffering is something that I think is way too much of a note in the story that we tell in our hero's journey.
I got it out the bud.
I don't need nobody else.
I was in the trenches
to do nothing the hardest way for me to feel like it's the best thing. Because
I was eating noodles.
Actually, if you had the opportunity to do it easier and you did it the harder way, I think you're not playing the game the right way, sir.
Yeah.
It's like it's time for you to change up your strategy. You know what I mean? So efficiency over indexing this suffering story that I also have fallen in love with throughout the course of my history in life is like, yo, some of this shit is hard for reasons that don't need to be. Let's get out of that.
Sounds like you need to get into some relaxation, Brother Tone.
I need some R&R, Kyle. That's right. It's time for this week's episode of Ripped from the Headlines. Now, Kyle, I did see a good brother talking to people about how they can treat their damn feet this week, man. So I got to say, there should be only but one way to bring this in. What is Relax Responsibly brought to you in part by this week?
It's brought by Bodega. Treat your feet.
There we go. No, it's brought by Roll Up and Roll Out that was featured in Bodega. This Roll Up and Roll Out is an entity that's owned by whom?
KR Jones
There
and
we
the
go.
Off the Strength Podcast.
You be trying to put people in the right position sometimes. Sometimes you got to drag a nigga over the line.
Hey, man.
But we going to get into the red zone.
One day it's going to happen, and we going to score, and it's going to be a joyous vacation.
How was you relaxing, man?
Man, I was relaxing this week I got up with some old friends, some old work friends.
Okay.
And I'm talking folks that I hadn't seen in about 5 years. And I ran into, you saw that interaction where I ran into one of them last week during our walk in
Right on.
Location Scout. So I got up with the old work friends and we just kind of kicked it for a bit. You know, that event where, you know, you think it's going to be a show and go. Hey, I'm going to go here. I'm going to be here 2 hours max. I'm going to be back in the crib before you know it. False. I was there the whole fucking night.
Nice.
And I didn't get back home until closer to midnight. And it felt good to catch up and just kind of be in a space where folks that you really used to spend a lot of your time with. And I thought of that as like, you know, a real holiday thing. Like this is the old work family. In New York, you have a lot of those, especially if you, you know, navigate through different industries like we have. It becomes expensive in folks. So to take that time to kick it with some folks, I was able to relax responsibly.
There we go, man. I like how you was relaxing, Kyle. And my relaxation this week took me to the world of the arts, Kyle.
Okay.
I went down to 651 Arts, you know, Brooklyn Stand Up. Shout out to everybody down there. Great organization. They keeping Brooklyn artistry alive. You got to check out what they got going on. And Kyle, this week I was shocked and surprised. I feel like those are the only two words that come up at the top of my mind when I tell you I had a chance to see the Incredible Drunkertons present a funky, sizzling Chris Mahana Kwanzaa holiday spectacular.
I'm gonna need you to slow down, brother. You're doing a lot. One
A
more
lot
time.
of syllables.
One more time from the top.
Okay. The Incredible Drunkertons present
Okay.
a funky, sizzling Chris Mahana Kwanzaa holiday special. Okay.
That sounds like a little bit of Southern playalistic Cadillac funky music to me.
And when I tell you, it was a mix of all different types of genres and some very talented, hysterically funny individuals giving you some sonnets that I did not know I needed until I heard them.
Yeah.
It was a very funny and also relaxing experience that showed that there is some amazing storytellers out here that are pushing their storytelling to a different level. I would say go check that out. It's 651 Arts, my friend.
Sounds like a beautiful time, Tony.
It was. It definitely was. Now, there was some funny moments that I'm going to save for some off-the-mic conversation.
Okay.
But that's how I was relaxing. So hopefully, Kyle, I'll take you into a different motion. My hope coming out of that whole thing is that people continue to correctly identify who they bring into crowd participation and who they should not. I will let you know that there was some hysterical moments that have taken place during this
Yikes.
that had you identified the fact that if you got to read the room a little bit, maybe this person is not the person that needs to be participating, but I'll leave that for another time.
Oof.
I hope you can read the room.
In your hope of reading the room, I hope that when you read the room, you got nuance.
There we go.
Because what looks a certain way might not always be. Looks can be very deceiving.
Yes,
and
sir.
We're in the time now where there are a lot of people identifying as a lot of things.
Hey, man.
That your vocab, your pronouns,
Everybody's family from here on out.
You got
What's
a
up,
lot
fam?
to do
Keep it simple. Don't try to play the game. Everybody's family until otherwise identified.
It's friend. Hey,
friends and family.
Hey, friend. How
Shout
are
out
you?
to all my friends and family.
That's it, because I will not address you as anything else.
This is where we're at today.
In my political correctness.
Fill your heart with the spirit, Kyle. Friends and family. Everybody out there can identify with that.
You keep your spirit over there. All right. I think that's all we got for the off the strength, folks.
He started speaking French at the end of the podcast. Hassan, I don't know what happened to that man. All right, brother. So, if they wanted to keep up with off the strength, what could they tap in with?
It's a hard accent.
Who could they turn into?
On the F. I spent some time in London. Folks, if you want to hear more from us, that is the Off the Strength podcast. You can visit us on Instagram at @offthestrength_. Or if you're in the greatest city in the world, that is New York City. Sometimes you can come on down to Rockefeller Center where you can see us record live and direct in the block of the rock, at the bottom of the rock at Newsstand Studios. If you can't make it in, you can always visit on Instagram at Rockefeller Center, on X at Rock Center NYC.
Once again, it's been another fantastic episode of Off the Strength. I'm a trainer called Tony.
KR Jones.
Peace and much love to y'all out there. Until next time, we'll see you soon.
Peace. I looked the wrong way.
You definitely did. It's okay. I was like, when was the camera that way?
It was never over there. Told you I took a little of that edible.
What's good, everybody? I'm a trainer called Tony, and I am here from the infamous Off the Strength podcast, asking you today, listeners, viewers, wherever you may be, to please like, listen, and subscribe to our podcast. This is how we're going to continue to be able to deliver you the best goddamn wellness information out here. So if you want to keep hearing this and you want us to keep growing, you are a part of this show just as much as anything else. So please go to offthestrength.com. Make sure you check out our blogs. Make sure you check us out on IG. And if you're hearing this voice and you didn't hit that subscribe button, know that Kyle is going to come looking for you.
You got that right.